This is Tailgate Talk, presented by Tarpon Blue.
Let's take a ride.
In this series, we're going to show you everything Texas and its surrounding southern states has to offer, right here from our very own tailgate.
We'll take you from life on the farm and the ranch to the big city lights. This is Tailgate Talk. Come along for the ride. In this week's episode of Tailgate Talk, we'll visit with veterinarian Dr. Scott Bugai. Here's what he had to share about his experiences raising wildlife, managing a local business, and maintaining the land that has been part of his family for generations.
I'm a veterinarian in Seguin, Texas. Kind of one of the dinosaurs, still work on all species. I work on dogs, cats, horses, cows, sheep, goats, pigs, and I do a lot of wildlife work too. This ranch is actually owned by my brother and myself. We inherited from my grandfather. We were a cattle producing ranch all my years growing up, and including into when I first got out of college. I have changed it into more of a hunting ranch now. We manage this ranch for the native wildlife species, and we've also got some exotics on the ranch. Rural land now tends to rely a lot on hunting income now to keep a ranch in a working ranch. It's harder to make ranches profitable strictly in your traditional livestock animals. The habitat that's necessary for a sustainable wildlife population is different than it is for cattle production. You know, cattle production, you want wide open fields, nice coastal fields and all that. For wildlife, you want more of native habitat. And so, you know, one of the things we do on this ranch, trying to manage for the wildlife, which is our primary income source for this ranch now. We do have cows on this ranch, but our major production is in wildlife now. So we've kind of let the ranch go back to just native habitat, and we're not doing the improved pastures. You know, we're not trying to keep coastal fields going and you know, fertilizers and weed killers and all that, because the deer and wildlife love the weeds. The cows don't. So that's been a change. You know, one of the things I want to mention is I'm a wildlife guy. I love the outdoors, love wildlife, and the biggest threat to our wildlife population now and habitat is land fragmentation and urban sprawl. You know what that means? That means larger acreages of land are now being cut up into smaller acreages of land, and there's more people living on the same landscape that used to just have either no people or a single dwelling. Again, is that good or bad? That's an individual decision to make. I can see both the good and bad at it. But one of the things that I've tried to do here is to keep this ranch in native wildlife usage. Hunting is our heritage. It's something I enjoy. I've raised my family in doing it, and got the next generation, got grandkids now that we're starting to introduce to it. And you don't get a lot of that done in subdivisions. So trying to maintain some of Texas anyhow, as much as Texas as we can in you know, native wildlife habitat, and be able to continue on with our hunting heritage is something that's really dear to my heart. I'm in a unique situation. I am a wildlife veterinarian. I work with a lot of ranches all across the state of Texas on just different issues relating primarily to white-tailed deer and the management of white-tailed deer and the you know, production of the species. Again, I travel Texas. I travel from Van Horn to Texarkana, from Big Spring to Rock Spring, as a deer veterinarian, as a certified veterinarian. That's kind of been a neat little niche in my practice. It allows me, one, it requires travel, which is, you know, can be burdensome, but it also gives me a chance to be outside and see a lot of this great state. So it's been good for me. The growth of this area has really changed the scope of veterinary medicine. Go back 25 years or so ago, there was a lot more large animal work, a lot of horses and cows, and as growth has occurred, there's less actual agricultural production land and more rooftops, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's growth is good, and for business it's good. For the community, both myself personally for my business and also just in the community, it's good. So, what does the future hold for agriculture and rural America? And I'm not real sure. I think that as a society, we've got to find a balance. We can't just keep paving over and concreting over our landscape, or we're going to lose out on some of the natural resources in Texas and the wildlife. So I don't know what the future holds. I'm not sure. I've seen it change a lot just in my time on planet Earth, and where it goes from here, I don't know. I just got to hope the next generation kind of tries to maintain it. It's one thing I've tried to instill in my kids is that, like my papa told me, he said, God ain't making no more land. You better hang on to what you got and add to it if you can. Unfortunately, right now, it's hard to add to it. I mean, land prices have gotten, they've increased. Let me just put it that way.
Thanks for tuning in today, and thank you to our guests for sharing their story.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time on Tailgate Talk.
We'll tell you things